Hi, my name is Chance Richardson, and today I want to show you guys how my recent game jam project turned out. It was designed entirely by me and voice acted by my good buddy Chris Mitchell. It was his first foray into voice acting, and I think he did a pretty epic job. Um, so yeah, let me show you guys the game. I'll show you guys some of the code, and you can tell me how I did. Um, I did this for the Trijam Game Jam.
Oh. Hmm. Oh. Oh.
So that's essentially the little story that gets you into it. Is you're a hungry man who is beset upon the park
Oh, no, no.
to nom nom all the food. Um, Essentially the idea is that the theme for the jam was Strange Cravings, and I interpreted that, as we naturally do,
Oh,
to be,
no,
oh yeah,
no.
you have specific, things you want to eat. So you're going around this park where people left out a huge picnic,
Oh, no, no.
and you're a big fella. Oh. And in the top right, it shows you what food you're craving, as well as there's the arrows, um, that help point out to the player what they want to eat, so they're not getting lost, or if they aren't able to out see it, boom, there's a watermelon over there. That's what I want to eat. There's the arrow. So just things like that to help out. And essentially the whole point is you're just trying to get as big as possible. An issue I did run into is with the code for rolling, which I'll show you guys here in a bit. I can roll at infinite speed, which is not helpful at all because it doesn't make me roll any faster. But yeah, so you eat the desired food, you get bigger. You eat the bad food,
Oh, no,
which we're gonna eat a bit
no.
of fish. You eat the bad food, you're gonna shrink down a little bit. Your guy throws up. It's not good. He does not want it. So we'll get out of there. I think you guys get the gist of the game. Um, Forgot to make a pause menu. I only had 3 hours. What do you want from me? But yeah, so going into it, essentially what I made this map in that 3 hour period, which was just essentially just some assets with some hills. I didn't put a ton of thought into it. Um, Other than that, I knew I wanted the food to be sort of spread out. I want some hills to sort of give you some challenge with rolling up and over, as well as to have these various objects like the trees as little sort of like, imagine it like pinball blockers knocking you around, the fence to sort of help divide up the map so you're not just rolling every which way. And yeah, but let's go into the code a little bit. Um, so starting out, I forgot to comment that a little bit. So essentially, what we're just using Unreal Engine's physics on this little collision sphere here, and that is the actual only part that has any collision on it, and it's handling all the physics. And we're just adding impulse to that every time you hit um, a button, and that's helping you know launch you around and rotate and everything. Um, but then I found you get huge and you're moving around way too fast. So I ended up adding this little speed variable where as you get bigger than your starting mass, that's going to sort of shrink your speed to a certain point, and make sure that when you're big, you feel big. Big things move slow, small things move fast. It mathematically computes in my mind's eye. But yeah, then going through that, I forgot to get rid of the jump code. That don't work. That's just part of Unreal Engine. Um, yeah, going after that, then we have the system for eating food, which essentially you will get a random food as you go through. So that sets your desired food type. We check to see if the desired food types enum is the same as the random food that we got from the game mode, or oh, not that we got from the game. The random food is the food that we rolled over. That's that we're eating. And then if it is good, then we will grow big and add mass. And if we are eating the wrong food, then we're going to lose mass. And essentially, all gain does is, um, plays the good sound effect, gets the food out of the map, adds the mass to the actual physics. So that way it keeps track of that, can sort of affect the speed, as well as that's your points for the game, is how actually massive you are. Um, then we grow the character and move the camera back a little bit. And after that, if you eat the wrong food, I have this do once here because the wrong food still stays in the map. Because I don't want you to end up ruining your whole game because you rolled over 30 of the wrong food when there was only one good food to eat. So I have a do once on there, and it'll do the bad food sound, make you lose mass, and zoom your camera back in, as well as make you smaller again. And then I should have done this better. I should have sort of logged what the last food was that you hit and made sure that it wasn't equal to that instead of having this delay. Well, I guess that doesn't solve the problem either. Maybe I put a cooldown on the food instead of on the character himself in case, he rolls from one food to another. Yeah, this was sort of one of those last minute decisions that comes up when you're when you're rushing through. Um, but yeah, after that 1 second delay, making sure that you're not just losing all your mass at once because it's going off of overlap. Then it will reset. Then on the food, all that's happening there is it will find out if it is or isn't the desired food when it starts out. And well, yeah, it'll start out by finding out whether or not it is the desired food at this moment. And if it is, it'll start showing those arrows. And if it's not, it'll hide the arrows. The arrow has a little animation of it going up and down because that just feels good. After that, we just have the desired food code, which will get called by the game mode whenever one food type is cleared out. And yeah, it'll just check to make sure that if itself, which is random food, is equal to desired food, which is put from the game mode onto the player, then it will set the arrow to either showing or hidden. Then it also handles the overlap with the player. It'll tell the player, hey, you just ate me. Here's, do your thing that you do when you eat food. As well as I have a thing on there for food weight if we wanted to give different foods different masses. I never ended up using it, but I put it on there. Yeah, and then it destroys its food, and we're gonna get to the game mode. It's not great. It's not super great. It's the last thing I got to. I was rushing through it to just get the game working exactly how I wanted it to. But yeah, it'll let the game mode know, hey, a food of this type was just destroyed, and it will destroy itself. And then we have our enum here, which has every possible food type that there was. Um, yeah, I'm not super thrilled with using this method. It seems pretty lengthy and over cumbersome or overabundant. If I wanted to expand this into you eating a lot more than just these foods, it would be a big problem. Um, so yeah, that'd be something to play with and try to figure out what another option would be. Because my main goal with this was I don't have a million different child actors of just the one food. So I don't have, BP parent food followed by food apple or child food apple, child food grape, child food frozen pizza from Walmart. It's all just the one BP food, and at the very beginning of the game, on its construction, it will pick out a random uh, type of food that it wants to be, um, and set its prop and its parameters based off of that. So I wanted to try it that way, and in order to do that, I ended up using the Cenium. I'm sure there's a better way to do it. I would have to put a lot more thought into that. I'm filming this video with yeah. I would have to go back, think back on that. But yeah, now we're onto the game mode. The uh, the game mode. I have this little check here, just just because I have my head level, um, or my starter level, and I have the actual level where the gameplay happens. It'll do a get food where it will clear out all the different types of food it has, which is another reason why the enum was not super great, because I'm using these integers to track how much of each type of food is actually in the level. I feel like there was a better way to achieve this, but then it will find out all the actors that were in the level. Off of that, it is doing its little bind to food destroyed to make sure that's still good to go. Um, and then it is adding that type of food to all these integers that I'd put away, which is it looks awful. It looks rough. I made it in 3 hours. Nobody comment any vomit faces in this LinkedIn post. If that's what people do, it's my first time. But then we do the same thing for removing the food. So when the food gets destroyed, the remove food code will happen. That's bound to the food being destroyed. Um, and yeah, if the food ends up being less than, if the total number of that type of food is less than one, then I know it must be zero. And then we call back to, setting a new desired food, which means going through all the food that we still have in the level and picking a random one to make the new desired food for the player to eat, being his new strange craving. So yeah, that's how the game turned out. Decided to die. That's fun. But yeah, that's how my game turned out. Um, Very, clearly inspired by We Heart Katamari. Um, yeah, I was pretty happy with it for 3 hours. The great success. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye bye.